that we are in this thing together, that it is our responsibility, our God-given responsibility to minister to the people around us who are less fortunate than us. Okay, y'all gonna be quiet on me now. Stop being concerned with you and be concerned with somebody else for just a few moments of life. You know what one of the worst things that ever happened to the black community was? The civil rights movement. It's the best thing, it is the best thing and the worst thing to ever happen to the black community. The civil rights movement, the coming of the civil rights movement, and the changes that came about because of the civil rights movement gave us freedom that caused the black community to crumble. Somebody's wondering, what in the world is the preacher talking about? There was a time where all the black people had to live together. No matter how wealthy you were, you had to live together. We all had to live in the same area of town because we were black. And your money could not buy you something on the other side of town. It just would not happen. So the black lawyer, the black doctor, the black judge, the black business owner, they had to live in the same community as the black guy who works at the store. Are you all listening to me out there? And all of our children played together. And our children actually had role models because they saw successful black people in their community. Our children actually had somebody to look up to because they saw the successful black people in their community, and they could say, I want to be like him, or I want to be like her. You know what happened after the civil rights movement? All the successful black people moved out of the black communities because we were chasing the suburbs. Are you all listening to me out there? And what was left in the urban centers? What was left in the traditional black community? It just became a cesspool of violence. It became a cesspool of illiteracy. Are y'all still listening to me? And it became the center of everything that was wrong. And everybody who had 2 nickels to run together got as far away from there as possible and left the people in the hood together in the hood. And we started building projects to house all the people. One of the worst things that America ever created was a housing project. The ghetto. Ghetto kids. The kids who live in the projects, they're not children that don't have any ambition. They're not children that don't have dreams. They're children that have the wrong role models. Are you all listening to me out there? They all have ambition. They all have goals. They all have dreams. They all have aspirations. They just have the wrong role models. If I grew up in the hood, and the guy that is successful is a guy that's running women, that's selling drugs, the guy that's in and out of prison, but he drives an Escalade, guess what I'm going to aspire to be like? I want to be like him, or I want to be like one of the black people I see on TV, which are by and large athletes. Are you all listening to me? So that's where my role models are. Where are the other role models? They don't come to the hood. They're scared of the hood. When they drive through the hood, they lock their doors. And they go and live in the suburbs, where they don't have to lock their doors. But what about the kids in the hood? Are y'all still with me on there? It's painful to see what our community has become so often. And it seems like nobody cares. And what's even more frustrating is the black people in entertainment don't make it better. Because they reinforce dumb stereotypes. Have y'all noticed that? When black people are in a movie, they always play these dumb roles. You know one movie that made me mad a few years ago? Soul Plane. It was the worst movie in the world. And you all might like it because it's comedy, but you know what? It reinforces to the rest of America that a black man can never own an airline because his pilots are going to be high. The stewardesses, they're going to be dressed like they work at Hooters. Why y'all so quiet on me out there? And look at the roles we play in movies. We play these dumb roles. I hate it. You all love some of that stuff. I hate watching it. Half of the Kevin Hart stuff, I turn it off. Y'all can say what you want. Y'all might like all that mess, but to me, it looked foolish. And let me tell you what it is. Artists will tell you, oh, my work is just, it's a mirror, and it reflects the community. Well, yeah, to an extent, it's a mirror that reflects the community, but you're also projecting that foolishness onto the community. There are young kids who look up to you and who want to be like you and think that that foolishness is reality. You all still out there with me? Our kids aspire to be professional athletes. I used to mentor at one of our high schools in Bridgeport. I go into a classroom, half the kids, what you all want to be? Oh, I want to be a basketball player. Really? You gotta tell them about reality sometimes. I tell most of them, you will not make it. It may sound harsh, but it's reality. You're not going to make it. Most of the people before you didn't make it. And most that come after you will not make it. There's just not enough spots for you to make it. Then I asked them, how many basketball teams are there in the NBA? They know, I don't know. How many teams are there? 30. How many people on each team? 20. No more than 20. 15. You got 450 professional basketball players in the United States of America, and 10 of them are sitting in one classroom in Bridgeport. Is that what you're telling me? You all see what I'm saying? I try to tell them, burn your sneakers, go pick up a book. Then they say college is not for everybody. You heard people saying that? Oh, college is not for everybody. It's not for everybody. Let me tell you something. If you are graduating from high school, do not buy into that foolishness that college is not for everybody. First of all, it's not that hard. Okay, maybe I'm talking to the wrong folk. It's not that hard. What I realized is if you can do 12th grade English, you can do English 101. I'm not promising you that you're going to be a rocket scientist, but I'm promising you can go to college and you can graduate. Hello, somebody. And the way our society is going, you've got to have some marketable skills. You can't just talk about, I'm here and I want a job. I try to tell young people, I was mentoring them at the high school. I said, okay, let's sit down and let's create a budget for the life that you want. And then let's discuss how much you need to earn to pay for the life that you want. Because 9 times out of 10, the path that you're on is you're not going to be able to afford the life that you want. You say, college is not that hard, folks. You can do it. And there's money out there for you to do it. I was looking at the kids at the high school. I was mentoring at Bassing High School, and I'm saying to them, listen, college for most of you, because you're poor, will be free. I'm looking at these young people, I'm saying, the Pell Grant will give you $5,000 a year to go to college just because you're broke. And the community college is $3,800 a year. You're going to get a refund. You're going to get paid to go to school. And a lot of them just couldn't wrap their minds around it. It was pitiful. I'm chasing after young people to fill out their FAFSA. That's the free application for federal student aid. I'm chasing them to fill out their financial financial aid application, and they're telling me they had to go to football practice so they couldn't fill out the FAFSA. And I'm looking at them saying, your priorities are way out of order. Look, we need to get off of this whole priestly attitude where we just pass on the other side of the road like we didn't see what's going on right there. Because let me tell you something, the problems of the poor will come knocking at your door. It's all good now. You don't mention that little kid now. But in 20 years, he might be the one kicking in your door, taking your stuff. So it makes sense for you to try to minister and help somebody else now instead of looking down your nose on everybody who lives in the hood. Because the problems of the poor will come knocking at your door. It's just a matter of time. Are you all listening to the preacher? After the priest passed by, I know my 10 minutes are up, but y'all stick with me. After the priest passed by, here comes the Levite. The Levite is completely unconcerned. The Levite is the choir director, but he's unconcerned. And I put the Adventist church in the Levite category. Let me tell you why I put us in the Levite category. Because we keep talking about the signs of the times. Every time there's a disaster, every time something goes wrong, what do we say? Oh, it's a sign of the times. Look up, your redemption draweth. If you're a member of Breath of Life Fellowship, let me tell you what is banned in this church. The next time there is a disaster, the word sign, or the phrase sign of the times, it is banned. I don't want to hear it. You want to know why? Because what we're saying is, I don't have to do anything about it. Jesus is going to come and fix it. So I don't have to do anything. This just means that his coming is soon and I need to get my heart right. Forget that. He says, occupy until I come. Yes. Martin Luther King said, we've talked about the New Jerusalem enough. Now it's time to talk about the new New York and the new Atlanta, the new Detroit, the new Stanford, the new Bridgeport, the new Norwalk, the hood. That's what we need to talk about, renewing now. Every time something terrible happens, we talk about it's a sign of the times. Somebody gets shot. Oh, sign of the times. No, it's a sign that maybe there was a troubled kid who needed you to mentor them. Hello? Yeah. Then finally the Samaritan comes by. The Samaritan looks at this man who's beaten. And he's moved with compassion and he says, what I have belongs to you. I'm going to give it to you. You recognize that we're all in this thing together. Samaritans were hated. The Jews looked down on Samaritans because they were mixed breeds. They were mixed race. They hated the Samaritan. Couldn't stand them. But the Samaritan man that was hated understood how to show love. And maybe it is the people who were disadvantaged in their lifetime. Maybe it's the people who were on the fringes of society that are best positioned to show love to those that are disproportionately affected by our society's ills. Maybe it's the people like me who grew up one street over from the projects. Maybe it's the people like me that are best positioned to go out and minister to that young man and that young woman. Maybe it's the person like you that came from nothing. You might not have much. The little that you have, you're willing to share. Maybe it's the person that has had a tough experience in their life that God is calling to say, you know what, go out and minister to others who are coming up just as hard as you have. Ladies and gentlemen, there's a concept in Christianity, concept of the wounded healer. The concept of the wounded healer is a picture of a person on a battlefield who's wounded